Hi everybody, welcome back to another White Girl Wednesday. Last week, a grand jury in Leflore County, Mississippi listened to over 7 hours of testimony about the 1955 kidnapping and lynching of 14-year-old Emmett Till. They were deliberating the decision to find Carolyn Bryant Donham guilty of kidnapping and manslaughter. After the deliberation, the grand jury submitted a no bill, which means that they do not believe there is sufficient evidence to find Bryant Donham guilty of the two crimes. Let me give a brief background of how this went back in 1955. For those who may not know, Emmett Till was a black boy from Chicago who was visiting family in Mississippi when he was kidnapped, mutilated, and thrown into a river. On August 24, 1955, Emmett and some teenage family members entered Bryant Donham's store, where she was working at age 20 or 21 at the time. Bryant Donham accused Emmett of groping her and speaking inappropriately at her, making a sexual innuendo about being with white women. She told her husband, Roy Bryant, about this, and he teamed up with his brother, J.W. Millam, to find Emmett and terrorize him. Bryant and Millam held Emmett at gunpoint and asked Bryant Donham to identify if he was the boy who accosted her. On the 28th, Bryant and Millam broke into the house where Emmett was staying, dumped him in the back of a truck, physically beat him, shot him, and tossed his body in the Tallahatchie River. While Bryant and Millam were both arrested for murder, they both were acquitted. In 1956, the two men fully admitted to what they had done to Emmett, down to the detail of weighing his body down with a 75-pound cotton gin fan. In 2008, Bryant Donham began to recount her accusations she had made about Emmett. She has since admitted that he never touched her and never said anything inappropriate to her in the store. Witnesses during that time also hold that they did not see or hear Emmett do those things, that they only possibly heard him whistle at her on the way out. Another piece that I found interesting is that there was an arrest warrant out for Bryant Donham that was never executed. Authorities had reported that they weren't able to locate her at the time they would have arrested her, and they just never pursued it again. In Mississippi, authorities are allowed to act on a search warrant no matter how old it is, but it's clear that the state didn't have too much interest in pursuing it. The grand jury met these past couple weeks because authorities had found out about this unserved warrant. The jury was also called to meet because the U.S. Department of Justice had found out about an unpublished memoir that Bryant Donham has been working on. In this memoir, she explains that she didn't know what her then-husband and brother-in-law were going to do to Emmett, and that she didn't want him killed. This isn't the first time that we have tried and failed to hold the appropriate parties responsible for what happened to Emmett Till. In 2007, a grand jury met in Leflore County and failed to indict Bryant Donham of manslaughter. By that point, Roy Bryant and J.W. Millam were both deceased. As of now, not a single person has been held accountable for the murder. Emmett Till's murder catalyzed some big shifts in the civil rights movement. Some sociologists and scholars even argue that it started the civil rights movement. One change that was decades in the making was the anti-lynching bill. Yes, you heard that right, to make lynching a federal hate crime. This bill, called the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, was signed into law only last year after many years of pushing legislators to pass it. Joyce Ladner, a black activist from Mississippi, attests that the murder serves as a marker for a new generation of African Americans that were rising in the country, which she has.
The white woman who accused a black teenager, that is Emmett Till, of whistling at her, that was in around 1955, which resulted into being lynched in Mississippi, which galvanized a generation of activists to rise up in the civil rights movement, has died at the age of 88. This lady is Carolyn Bryant Donham. Carolyn died in hospice care on Tuesday night in Westlake, Louisiana, according to a death report filed on Thursday in the Calcasieu Parish Coroner's office. Her death marks the last chance for anyone to be held accountable for the kidnapping and brutal killing of this young 14-year-old boy, that is Emmett Till. Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, insisted on an open casket funeral in their hometown of Chicago so the world could see her 14-year-old son mutilated body, which was pulled from a river in Mississippi, according to what Jet magazine released. The photos were really very much shocking. And in August 1955, when this happened, we all know, or you may not know, that Till had traveled from Chicago to visit relatives in Mississippi, Donham, when the 21-year-old Carolyn Bryant during that time accused him of making improper advances on her at a grocery store where she was working in a small community of money. The Reverend Wheeler Parker, a cousin of Till who was there, said, of course, Till did this, but of course it wasn't taken out of context, and they used mob justice as a way to do justice. It was really very bad, and this actually what influenced the upcoming activists we are later seeing on after quite some time. So we are still sending our deepest condolences to Emmett Till's family, because it's been so many years ever since this happened, but of course the lady who caused her death has also passed away. You leave a comment below to let me know about what you think about this situation, and let me know, or let us the world have and can actually see your thoughts on the matter. R.I.P. Emmett Till.